Hello guys, today's tutorial is on Sprite Animation in C++ using SDL2 library. You need to first install SDL2, SDL2 image and SDL2 TTF libraries. I will be using this Sprite file which has 12 different frames of flame. I will also be using this data of x, y positions of the sprite. These are 12 data points. Let's get started by creating an instance of animate class which is used in the animation loop. I will be creating the class later. I will be defining the animation windows properties here. It has a title. Here we name it all about coding. Let's define the other variables. X position and Y position of the window is set to 100. Window width is set to 350 and window height is set to 400. Flags variable is set to 0. The init method of animate is called here with all the window properties as arguments. Let's create animation loop in which it handles the events such as windows close in the handle events method. The update method updates the properties of the next frame. Render method renders the next frame to the screen. The clean method here cleans the environment variables. Let's create the animate class in animate.h. Let's include that file here. As this is a header file, I write the above code which makes sure that this header file is included only once. No matter how many times this file is included, it gets included only once. Here I am defining the animate class which has a constructor, an init method which takes the Windows properties as arguments, the title, X position, Y position, width of the window, height of the window, and flags. It has render method, it has update method, it has handle events method, and it has clean method and animate method which returns a private boolean data member called run. Run is used as a loop variable for loop to run indefinitely, and it is initially set to false. The init method on success will set the run variable to true, and here we define more private data members which are essential for animation, such as window, renderer, rectangles, rectangles are used to copy parts of texture to the destination frame. We are creating texture objects as well. Here in the animate class, we include animate.h file. In whole program, we are including animate.h twice, but when creating an object file, animate.h contents are included only once. Here we are defining the contents of all the methods. In the first step, we are initializing the SDL library here. SDL underscore init takes a single argument in which we are passing SDL underscore init underscore everything, which initializes everything. If it returns 0, then it is properly initialized. Otherwise, it is not initialized. Here inside, when initialized, we are creating a window which takes the following arguments: title, X position, Y position, width, height, and flag. Here we are taking height as 400, but we are increasing height by 80. Here why we are increasing is we have to render the text as well. That is the reason we are increasing. If the create window function call fails, it returns null pointer. If it doesn't return null pointer, then the call is success. We are creating a renderer. If the call fails, it returns a null pointer, otherwise it is successful. Now we are now we have a window. We can set the background color of the window to black. As the sprite is black, we are setting the background color of the window as black. We can import the image using img underscore load. This is part of SDL2 underscore image header. So we need to include that as well. We'll be doing shortly. And then from the surface, we will be creating texture, because working with texture is much more faster because it is hardware rendering. The rendering becomes very much faster with textures. As we won't be working with surfaces, we will free the surface. And we'll set the source rectangle position to 0, x and y positions to 0, destination x and y positions to 0, and we'll be setting source and destination heights and widths to be equals to width and height of the window. Width equals to 350 pixels and height equals to 400 pixels. But the height of the window is 400 plus 80 pixels. Eighty pixels is the breathing room for text that we are going to render later. In order for this to work, we are including SDL underscore image dot h. If the above function call fails, we have to return false. That is what I am doing right now. There are three different function calls. For the three different function calls, I am returning false if they fail. If everything works alright, then I am setting run equals to true and I am returning true. Now let's define the render method. Animate render. SDL underscore render clear. It clears the previous rendered frame and updates the next frame. In between these two calls, we can manipulate the frame, and render present updates the manipulated frame to the screen. Here we are using render copy to put changes to the next frame, but render present will update those changes to the screen. Now let's define animate update. It changes the animation frame. Here SDL underscore get ticks will return the number of milliseconds since the initialization of the library. So here I am dividing it by 100. We are using modulus operator 12. That means out of 12 frames, we will get any one of the frame. We need to update that. For in order to select a frame, we are using the XY positions vector. So I have to define a vector which holds the XY positions of each of the frame. So I defined a vector of pairs and I'm calling it as sprite position, which holds the XY positions of sprites. Then I will initialize the sprite positions in the constructor. I'll create a temporary vector and I'll hardcode the positions. And I will assign temp to sprite positions. In this way, sprite positions now stores the XY positions of sprites. Now t has a value from 0 to 11. I'll fetch a sprite using the index and I will change this current sprite. Now I'll define the clean method. Here we can use it to destroy window, destroy renderer, then we can destroy texture as well. We can quit from the SDL as well. There's one more method left, which is handle events. Here we define an event object, SDL underscore event. Whenever an event is created, it is pushed down in the event queue, and we can use SDL underscore poll event. It polls as in checks for an existence of event in the queue. If it finds an event, it pops the event and returns and sets the pointer of E to that event, and we can access the event using event type using E.type If it is quit, then we will assign run to false and we'll exit the loop. Let's run the code by compiling. We have to link SDL tool libraries manually. We have some errors. Both of them are syntax errors. I forgot to add semicolon after the class definition and one more semicolon at the end of a statement. It compiled successfully. The animation is working fine. Let's render the text. Let's import the font. I have downloaded a Open Sans regular TTF file. I will open the file using the TTF underscore open font function. I'll pass the file name, file path as a first argument. As a second argument, I will pass the font size. I will create a SDL underscore color object and pass RGB alpha values, all of them 255. That means it is a white color. I'll create a surface object using TTF underscore render text underscore solid call. Here I have passed wrong arguments. I will be correcting this error afterwards. I will be creating textures from the surface using this call. We have already seen this, as we will be working only with textures. I don't know about the height and width of the text, so I will be accessing width and height using SDL underscore query texture. We can query the texture, we can poll for width and height and their positions as well using this call. After that, I will be freeing the surface using SDL underscore free surface function call. I will be setting the X and Y position of the rectangle to 30 and height is 400, and we should not forget to initialize the TTF font. It returns 0 on success. I am checking that as well. Here I created another texture. I have to render the texture as well. I will be using render copy call on that. And as I created another texture, on cleanup I have to free that texture as well. Don't forget to include HDL underscore TTF library, otherwise it will lead to an error. Here As I told you, I have made a mistake here. I am rectifying it as render text underscore solid. Function takes font object as an first argument, font text as a second argument. Its third argument is a color object. On compiling, it is working fine. Let's run it. There you go. Finally, we have reached the end of the tutorial. I hope you made it to the end of the video. Subscribe for more interesting updates. See you in the next video.